Hello, and welcome to my channel. I didn't know what kind of video should I post after my hiatus here on YouTube to start the new era of this channel, but then I had an idea. Why not do a K-Pop Unpopular Opinions video? The last time I did one was back in November of 2020, so more than a year and a half ago, and it was a really important video for my channel, so I think this video is a great start for my channel since the hiatus. As you've seen from the title, today I'm presenting you with 10 of mine K-Pop Unpopular Opinions. I'd like to explain my point of view, so the video may be a bit long, but I hope you enjoy it. Also, keep in mind that these are my opinions. You can disagree and share your point of view, but please be respectful on the comments sections, not only with me, but with the other people, and towards the artists too. I do not wish any harm or hate to any group. And, as any disclaimer must have, if you're not comfortable hearing other people's opinion, feel free to click off the video. Now, let's get going to the video. Number 1, Blackpink's Bet You Wanna is their worst collab track. The album had such amazing songs, but I have to say that Bet You Wanna wasn't one of them. Don't get me wrong, I still like it, and it's on my playlist and everything. It's just that I feel like it's their weakest collab and overall track. The song feels like it doesn't reach where it should reach, and kinda gets lost in the way. I also find it a bit generic, and it doesn't give that Blackpink aura that their other songs give. Another complaint is how Cardi B doesn't really make a difference in the song. I was expecting a better rap than what we got. I don't feel like she was needed actually. I think Lisa could have easily replaced Cardi by doing a rap in that section. This is in contrast with their other collabs, where you can clearly see how the featured artist makes a difference in the song. You may say, but what about Ice Cream? Well, if you already watched my other K-Pop Unpopular Opinion videos, I said that I actually really enjoyed Ice Cream, and although the video is a bit old, and some of my opinions have changed since then, this is not one of them. Ice Cream is a fun, refreshing song, perfectly fit for the summer, and Selena's parts are amazing, and you can see that her voice was the best for the parts in question. And I obviously loved Sour Candy and Kiss and Makeup. Once again, I don't dislike Bet You Wanna, it's a good song, but from all of the Blackpink songs, it's the most forgettable for me, without anything that makes it stand out, with the exception of that little part of the intro.
Blackpink, Cardi.
Being a collab with Cardi B, the expectations were high, but it ended up being my least favorite track from them. Number 2, ITZY's Icy is their best title track. I mean, when I discovered many people disliked Icy and considered it ITZY's worst title track, I was in shock. I love Icy so much, it's so refreshing and unique, and it totally fits ITZY's image and sound. It also fits the summer really well. The choreo is iconic, and the rap slap, and the pre-chorus is outstanding. This track had a similar origin than NMIX's Oh, since it was produced by a bunch of people, and then it was pieced together, but Icy is the perfect example on how that technique should be applied. Well, that is, if you considered that a technique. On the other hand, Oh was the perfect example on how not to do it. I don't know what JYP had in mind with Oh, they already got it right with Icy. How did they fail with Oh? But that's beside the point. Icy is the queen track from ITZY, and I am glad they are returning to this sound because it's the one that fits them the best. Number 3, Purple Kiss has the most interesting discography of the 4th gen girl groups. In contrast of the 4th gen boy groups, 4th gen girl groups actually have a bigger abundance of interesting discographies. Groups that come to my mind are Billy, Stacy and Dive. However, for me, Purple Kiss is the one that stands out the most. Besides having great B-sides, they are one of the most versatile groups when it comes up to sound. They have a great variety of genres in their songs, and although that might make their discography confusing, all of the songs exert a Purple Kiss vibe that you can really see. Wow, this is totally Purple Kiss's sound, even when we compare songs like Twinkle and Love Is Dead.
You know what love is dead. You know what love.
I also feel like their discography has been constantly evolving for the better. Their debut album was good, but not outstanding, but in Hide and Seek they were able to deliver us a better album with more unique and powerful tracks. Then they perfected that idea with MMM, where all of the tracks sound unique, but also Purple Kiss-like. And now with Jekyll and Kid You Not, it's the best album I hear this year. Every single track is amazing, and it's also very different from what they already showed us in the last 3 albums, and from what the other groups brought us too. Fireflower, for example, is such an interesting track. That kind of soundscape is not seen in K-pop that much. Also, Summer Rain is a chill song done in the best way, because what could have been one of their most boring songs turns out to be one of their best tracks due to how many details the song has that makes it differentiate from other summer ballad-like songs and give it its own Purple Kiss twist.
Are you happier now?
Number 4, Sunmi's rap on You Can't Sit With Us wasn't that bad. I don't know why you all fixated so much on this rap. Yes, the lyrics could be better, but the flow was nice, and it fitted the song. It also gave it a twist, which gives it more replayability in my opinion, since it becomes less repetitive. For the lyrics in particular, I find it fascinating why everyone used them as an excuse to dislike the song, while there were a bunch of popular K-pop songs that people showed a lot of interest with cringier lyrics that people seem to just ignore. One example I can give is Stray Kids' Thunderous. I am the only one that cringes every time they say
"Man, I'm not sorry, I'm dirty."
Like, this screams to me, oh my god, I'm such a bad boy vibes. Also,
Why you mad, why you sad, why you tick.
supposed to mean, is it some expression? Like, I don't know. But the truth is I didn't see anyone complaining about these lyrics, they just bopped at Thunderous without questioning themselves. Another example is G-Idol's Soyeon rap in Tomboy. This one was really criticized, and I get why. The first rap was okay for me, not deep, but not bad either. But what lyrics were those in the second rap? Like,
I would rather film a TikTok, and sometimes it's rare we don't think around.
can someone tell me what the second one is supposed to mean? Even with all of the critiques, people still enjoyed this song, and is a K-pop favorite of this year for many people, myself included. So, it seems the rap, even being cringy for many, for myself, I wouldn't say it's cringy, only non-logical, but it sounds cool. People still listen to it and didn't use it an excuse for not liking the song. So why is the rap such a big deal on Sunmi's You Can't Sit With Us? I don't understand really. But well, the song slaps. I still didn't get over it. Just loved the retro vibes. Number 5, ASAP is better than Stereotype. International K-pop stans gave way more attention to Stereotype than to ASAP, but honestly, ASAP slaps harder. Stereotype is great too, but ASAP is just better to me. But I can't be mad at international fans for obsessing over Stereotype, because I did so too. Now being completely honest, So Bad is even better than ASAP and Stereotype. That one deserved more recognition is such an iconic debut. It's kinda interesting how I have been enjoying Stacy's title tracks less and less, until Stereotype. The difference in preference was really small, but after Run to You things are getting a bit sadder. Run to You grew a lot on me, but it's still far from Stereotype, and now Beautiful Monster has to be my least favorite title track from them. I hope this pattern stops here though. Until now, even if not as much as the older ones, I have been enjoying Stacy's title tracks. I hope their next comeback is more of my taste. Number 6. Yena should have joined Everglow. This is not due to Yena, she is doing great by herself. She was the only one member to go solo to receive a music show win with their debut, and Smiley really does slap. This is more because of Everglow. Everglow were a group with so much hype around it back in 2019 that it's kinda scary how their popularity died down in the following years. Pirate was literally their best title track to date, but it had very lacking results, be it in terms of views, sales or digitals. This album sold less than their previous album, which is a single album, while Pirate's album was an EP. Their sales haven't been increasing that much either. Obviously it still has a good amount of views, but most of them are still due to ads. Not only that, but their popularity in South Korea is still really small. They practically don't chart. This isn't hate towards Everglow, by the way. I love the girls. I literally been streaming Pirate daily ever since it came out, so I'm sad to see Everglow be in this position. I think if Hua made Yena join Everglow, she would bring a lot of Korean listeners to the group, and that would stir up the waters, and I think the group could have a reboot after that and start a new phase of their career where they saw more Korean recognition and also a resurgence in popularity internationally, because I think a lot of S1 fans would support Everglow. Being the most popular, I also don't think Yena would receive hate for joining the group late. Either way, I hope Everglow can turn up the tables with their next comeback. They deserve justice for Pirate. Number 7. Feel My Rhythm by Red Velvet fell cheap. I didn't enjoy this release that much, to be honest, and one of the reasons was exactly due to the classical music. I loved the idea of incorporating classical music to the song, but I don't think it was really well executed. The classical bits felt out of place and didn't match the rest of the instrumental, and it seemed like it was a complete separate thing. It seems like you're listening to the song on your bedroom while your mom is blasting off classical music in your living room, so you kinda hear a bit of classical music here and there, but it doesn't go with the song you're currently listening. Not only that, but the classical pieces reminded me of some of those cheesy movies, like, I don't know, it just doesn't go well with the rest of the song. All of this just makes the classical pieces sound cheap and not something you were expecting from such a professional agency like SM. Overall, the song isn't bad, but it's not something that I jam a lot to. Number 8. Dizzy is ONEUS's weakest track. I'm sorry to all of my fellow Tamoons, but I really had to make this confession. I know this is a fandom favorite because it was the first track that Soho produced, and it was also only the second track Raven produced for ONEUS, being his first one released way back at the debut mini-album. When I first discovered this song was the one that they played at that one Feck video where they made a song for the child actor on Come Back Home. I was super excited because the beat of the song was super catchy and it sounded so fresh. However, when I heard the full song, I felt it was quite empty. I am not used to such quiet instrumentals from ONEUS, and Dizzy's instrumental is my biggest complaint with the song. It just sounds so empty and unfinished. I feel like this track doesn't have the quality that ONEUS's other tracks have, and it's really forgettable. Either way, it's still a fun, easygoing song to listen to, and it's on my playlist too, but don't expect me go out of my way to hear it that much, because I would probably listen to another ONEUS track if given the chance. Number 9. Jessie's Zoom is her worst track from her most recent work. Honestly, I don't see the hype around this song. From Jessie's most recent songs, this is by far her weakest song in my opinion. I really don't see the appeal of the song. It's kind of ironic how this song is her most famous yet and went viral. Good for Jessie though. But personally, I would have not chosen Zoom as a track from Jessie to go viral. Number 10. TikTok's effect on K-pop is kinda scary. We've seen TikTok swallow the entire K-pop community, where before YouTube and Twitter were the main social platforms K-popers used, now it's TikTok, and that has repercussions. One perfect example is how so many songs went viral on TikTok, and that made them be recognized by the general public. And thereafter people will stream the song on YouTube, Spotify, etc. This has given an opportunity for many groups to reach the general public, like what happened to Weekly with their song After School. It also made people recognize more B-sides, or at least I see many more B-sides getting attention nowadays than in 2019, for example, where TikTok wasn't that popular in the K-pop community. So far, I've only said good things about TikTok's effect on K-pop, so what's the problem? Well, I would point out two. The first one is the most noticeable. There has been a constant urge from groups to introduce in their songs something that has viral capacity on TikTok. Sometimes they really fit the song and are a smart addition, but that's not the case for the most of them. What we get are generic post-chorus, for example, an abrupt change in the choreography style to make it more simple, or the sole focus of the chorus. For this last one we have the example of Tank by NMIX, where the chorus uses a style very viral-like, in order to appeal to TikTokers, and kind of just feels an outcast of the rest of the song. This is also leading for K-pop choruses to be even more similar, just like what's happening with the bunch of fourth-gen boy groups. I also think TikTok is one of the causes of K-pop songs becoming shorter and shorter, but in this case, there's also the streaming culture as a cause. The second one is more of a community problem, since now I am seeing many people calling flops to songs that did quite well, but didn't go viral on TikTok. It seems now that for you to be a good artist, you have to have a song go viral on TikTok, which, in my opinion, is only unfair, because going or not viral ends up being a bit random, and is usually associated with songs of the same genre, so it's kind of incentivizing K-pop companies to release the same music over and over again. I also noticed that groups that do go viral on TikTok may have a really popular song, but if they don't have a strong fan base behind them, that popularity will not last long, which is also kind of sad. By the success that After School had, Holiday Party should have gotten way more attention than what it got, but it didn't do amazingly better than their debut, for example. Same thing for Venpara. It seems like Weekly didn't gain many more fans after School, and the general public lost interest quite easily, a common trait in TikTok too. Like when a group has a bad comeback, people already say they have fallen off, but that discussion will need to be for a future video. Overall, I am kind of scared of the future of K-pop because of TikTok, due to the fact that not everything is pointing out to K-pop songs being more and more similar to each other, and for a group's momentum and popularity to become more and more ephemeral. Well, this is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your own opinions on the comments section, but please keep it respectful. Also, check out Purple Kiss's newest song Nerdy. It's really cool, you should give it a chance. See you on my next video.
Okay, I'm nerdy, but I'm not stupid. I want your 99, I love myself.
Fly me to the moon, 나를 데려가